I wasn't rolling when we were talking about, who were we?
You cannot confirm or deny.
Let's just keep that where it belongs.
He who should not be named.
That's off air.
Yeah, that's offline. Can we take this offline?
Or when you're like in journalism, what do they do? On the record?
Off the record?
Yeah, off the record, on the record.
I've had to say that to somebody.
Off the record?
I'm like, this is off the record.
Yeah.
Because you just
Sometimes
never
it's
know.
good to
We
set
can't have that in print.
No, set that standard.
People think I'm nice.
No.
And if they heard the things that come out of my mouth off the record,
Yeah.
oh boy.
And also sometimes what I say is half the time sarcastic
Oh,
anyway.
yeah.
And they're just like thoughts that don't go filtered through my brain, and I'm just spitting them out.
That's why I have Twitter. And that's where I put all those thoughts.
Yeah.
That's Rodney. He's like, it's just like a conscious, or it's just like a stream of your thoughts. Like, that's exactly what it is. So if you got all that inside, it wouldn't be good.
Right. That's why, like, when
like
I'm talking at my desk with Grace, she's learned to just nod her head.
Yeah.
Just, like, let me talk out loud.
Yeah.
Until I get to where I need to go.
Yeah.
Be where you need to be.
Be where you need to be. Be where your feet are. Wait,
Oh,
what did
yeah.
Caitlin Clark say?
Back out third one, actually.
Lisa says, be where your feet are.
Be where your feet are.
Give it your all in the present moment that you're in.
I love that. I think that's such a good
I like that quote, too.
quote. That's the
Maybe
word I was
I'll
looking for.
post it. Maybe I'll just post it.
I think you should just post it. I think you should just send it.
We're sending it, baby.
Oh, we're just send it.
You know who else sent it?
Who?
The Masters.
The Masters sent it.
I did a segue.
That was great.
I'm usually not that good at them.
You were amazing on that segue. The Masters were this weekend. I guess why do I talk about it as the plural? The Masters.
Because there's an S at the end.
Yeah. So they were
Why
this weekend.
is there an S at the end?
Because do you become a master when you win?
Yeah.
You get the Masters jacket.
Why is there
The
an
green
S
jacket?
at the end?
It's just the Masters.
Anyway.
We're going to look. People are going to be screaming, dumbass. It's like 89 years old. The Masters are.
Oh, that's funny.
A lot of history.
Seriously.
Golf, though? Are you a golfer?
No, but two stories come to my mind for this. I am now more invested in golf from the documentary, The Full Swing thing. So now, I was watching it this weekend. I'm like, I know that guy. He talked in this.
A documentary.
I know. Look at the effect that it had. So I wonder, the views for the Masters this year. Was it more than normal because of that? I would love to know.
We should look that up. It's funny that you're talking stats because think about the money. Okay, golf anyway is just like a
so much money.
Wealthy person's sport.
These people make so much money.
Well, they make money, and then the Masters itself is just money making machine.
Yeah.
So in 2022, $69 million on just merchandise alone.
They sold that?
Yeah. Tickets, $39 million. International TV rates, $25 million. And concessions. My God, concessions. Guess how much?
10 million.
Close. $8 million. Got to get those hot dogs, baby.
I was gonna say, what kind of food do you think they sell at the Masters?
They can't sell loud food. It can't be like chips. It has to be like soft, like hot dogs, like
cotton candy,
soft, like pallets. So you're not like crunching into a freaking
tortilla chip or something.
Isn't that
my
funny?
Gosh.
But
do you
just
think
the
they
money.
sell that type of food there? Now I'm curious because
Well,
it's so high class.
But a lot of people can do like Masters parties where they can go buy that stuff.
Oh.
They can buy the napkins, like the accoutrement.
Yeah.
They can buy all that stuff.
Did you want to say something, John?
John wants to say something.
They're known for their pimento cheese sandwiches.
Yeah,
I love
cheese
pimento
sandwiches.
cheese.
Another soft-sounding food.
And the Masters is known for really reasonable prices within their menu. So $2 to $3 for a food item.
Stop. $2 to $3.
So then that's a lot of food to rack it up to $8 million.
Exactly.
But in comparison, it's the lowest contributing factor.
Does food also include beverage? Do they serve alcohol?
I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure you're gonna fall asleep. Well, yeah. I mean,
Some
maybe
might.
it's just energy drinks. I don't know.
Well, there's the one. Sorry, I'm getting us off track.
No, you're good.
But there's the one from the documentary that I watched. There's the one tournament in Arizona where it's just a partay. So
What's that?
I forget what it's
Waste
called.
Management Open.
Yes, Waste Management Open.
Sounds shitty. Sorry.
You had to.
That was bad.
Oh, that was funny.
That was bad. Well, to back to the original question, golf, yes or no? You're not, but you want to be?
I'd love to be good at golf. And I should, like, in my soul, I know I should be good. I was a softball player growing up. Like, I'm athletic. Like,
that would mess your swing up, though, if you're a softball player.
I know, but, like, I can be coached on how to do something.
Sure.
But I haven't gotten it yet. And it just pisses me off.
Yeah, just have to spend some time with it. You need
to.
I think my challenge to you, make some time for golf this summer, girl.
We used to do Tea Time Tuesdays.
Okay, that sounds like fun. Can I come to that?
Yeah, just drive a couple hours. To A-Town.
Fine, I'll do that. I'll do that. And Easter was also this weekend.
Oh, Easter. Did you have a good Easter?
I had a great Easter. I do love Easter. Yeah. It's just like spring. And it helps when the weather's nice like it was this year. You can be outside and do all the Easter egg hunt and stuff. But yeah.
It was really nice.
It was gorgeous.
I was inside because I started my taxes that are due in a few days.
Just a couple days. You've got time. Okay, just think about this. By the time this podcast is out and everyone's listening, you'll know Shelby's taxes were done. They were approved. The IRS is not sending her a letter. Let's just be positive.
Worry.
Positive affirmations. It's good. Good. We're fine.
They have a deadline for a reason.
That's right. Exactly.
And I tend to abuse the deadline a lot of the time.
My husband took care of the taxes yet again this year.
Nice.
He is the real MVP in our house.
I have to do them with my dad, like in the room or somewhere, because I go through them. And Dad, what's this answer to this question? And he's like, what do you need this time?
It's so funny. I see memes about this all the time. It's like the IRS, we know exactly how much you owe, but we're not going to tell you. We're going to make you guess. And then if you get it wrong,
we're going to come at you.
Yeah, we're going to come at you.
They're so mean.
It's the biggest scam. And
I'm kidding. You're amazing, and don't come after me. Okay.
The IRS, I can assure you, is not listening to this podcast.
You never know. It's on the record.
And if you are, it is on the record. And if you are, I'm going to take this offline. I've got some words I want to say to you.
Okay, you go.
Yeah.
Write a strongly worded letter.
I will. Learn that from my grandma. I will.
What?
How to write a strongly worded letter.
Really? I have some I might need you to write then.
Okay.
I wrote one to the Waze app one time when they took the Cookie Monster voice off their app.
Yeah, but some grouch ass wrote them a strongly worded letter to get it taken off.
Oh, true. True.
Which is just...
It was so funny.
I bet it was funny.
C is for cookie and for caution.
It's very good.
Make you turn. There was cookie back there.
So good. No, we just have Gwen Stefani, which she's amazing, but
shit. No way.
No. It's not the same.
No. Oh my God. Should we roll into it?
Yeah, because I have another segue that popped in my brain.
Come on.
Speaking of disconnect between things, we wanted to talk today about
speaking of U-turns. Wow.
Yes. That was way better. We were going to talk today about defining your why. So we wanted to give some backstory on why we came up with this. Why?
Okay, we have this great opportunity to go tell the story on behalf of a client. And we meet them, we're jiving with them, we're hearing their problems, their pain points. Okay, now it's time to go produce the work. But it's like, I feel like we were missing just a little bit of the hard work that goes into that. Learning about them, why they started in the first place, what their products are, what drives them, what their culture is, just kind of everything that makes up a brand on the inside. And ultimately their why. Mm-hmm.
And that's what came to be from the brand workshop. So we created this brand workshop that we've done with a couple clients thus far, and it's been amazing just to get all of those leaders and higher up people into a room just to discuss brand, which is something they probably don't talk about all the time, and they probably don't see a lot of value in it. But once we are able to teach them about the value that there is to a brand, it's really eye-opening for them, and it helps get them all aligned.
Definitely. I think when the it's, you know, it's for the leadership team or the higher ups or the exec or the board members of a company to come into this meeting. I think when they get that, exactly like you're saying, we're not sure they see the value in it. When they see that invite come across, what do you mean you need me for 4 hours? You know that my time literally is money for this company.
Yeah.
And then we take them through this workshop and ask them some pretty uncomfortable questions that maybe they haven't even thought of for a really long time, or they haven't thought of the answers to that question since they did start the company X amount of years ago.
Right.
It's pretty intense. A lot can kind of just be laid out on the table. A lot of times we see gaps in the room, you know, and this is supposed to be the leadership team a lot of times, and they are supposed to be all swimming in one direction or thinking the same things or using the same language. And we sometimes uncover that they're not, and that's not a bad thing. It's such a great opportunity to realign and say, okay, we are going to get back together and we're going to start marching in the same direction. And, oh, I didn't know you were talking that way.
Yeah.
It's just, when would they ever have the opportunity to do that unless it's being led and guided, and we're asking some of the tough questions. And so it can get uncomfortable in there, but it's a good time. It's positive.
Yeah, it's so much more than, it becomes so much more than a brand workshop at the end of it. It's like just discussing business. But one of the biggest aha moments that come out of it is when we get to the page where we talk about the golden circle. Now, this is Simon Sinek's golden circle. He had a TED Talk on it back in 2006. So this is an exercise where a light bulb goes off in people's heads when they finally realize that people don't buy what you sell, they buy why you sell it. So I'm going to give you a Shelb stat that I heard. It's a Harvard study that showed that 95% of purchasing decisions are made in the subconscious mind and then justified by the logical side of your brain.
Absolutely agree to that.
So what this is telling us is that when we're marketing our brand, we want to target that subconscious mind because that's what controls feelings and emotions. And one of the best ways to tap into the feelings and emotions is by communicating your why to people.
And I love that stat. It's good for everybody to hear. I think marketers for sure, because a lot of times I think when we're tasked with marketing a product or a business or whatever we do, we're just like very literal. We're like, it is this, you should buy this product because, well, sure, that's very effective, but it's also the layering of messages and just making sure you're out there. And we talk about this all the time, being consistent. So the next time someone does go to make a purchase, you are in their subconscious too. So I think it definitely ties in with the why, but it also ties in with, you know, the consistency and the frequency.
Yeah. And even like getting your message out there to like, kind of that's the wrong word. What am I looking for? Like when you're scrolling on Instagram and like you get that ick feeling from some accounts, and then you get that like, ooh, I really like that
dopamine hit.
Yeah. So it's just even attracting people with your story and your values, and the why behind what you do.
Now more than ever, people are smarter and they are more in tune with the way that they're being marketed to. So by just saying like, we have this, here's the price, people are like, ugh, yuck. They want to connect to the product that they're buying. They want to connect to the brand that they are buying it from. At the end of the day, everyone's pretty much offering similar
100%.
Products.
Yep.
They're going to pick the one that does talk to them either, you know, subconsciously or subliminally. They're going to purchase from the one that they're making that connection with.
Right.
And that's where that why is so important.
Yeah.
Again, like I'm on Instagram a lot. I'm online a lot. I see how many different brands a day. I'm going to make the purchase from the one that I resonate the most with.
Yeah.
Right now it's this one called Local Eclectic.
Yeah.
It's a jewelry company.
Yeah, I think I've heard you talk about them before.
Yeah, I'm this close from buying a ring on there. It's a little python.
Yeah.
It's
I love that.
really
I got my
neat.
sneaks.
Yeah. And so so because I've interacted with that brand, I'm getting so many other jewelry brands advertising to me, and I'm like, no. I have like, it's this one because they do their marketing so well.
That brand loyalty too. Like you align with them, you trust them, you relate to them. So no matter what they sell, you're going to end up buying it from them. Like that, that's the case with a lot of Apple products too. Like, that's why Apple's consumer base is so strong and loyal. Like, they will buy anything that Apple puts out. AirPods, iPhones, you name it, they'll spend thousands of dollars to buy it.
I watched an ad. It's old, but I rewatched it the other day for inspiration for something we were doing here, and it is the Apple Watch commercial about, oh gosh, these people had been in an accident and the Apple Watch is what saved their life. So they weren't just selling the watch. They were selling the why behind putting the cellular data into the watch, you know? So they really are putting their unique why into their product, into their advertising. And now I'm like, you know what? That is a good product. So yes. So
it even goes into, I was listening to a podcast on my way here today, and she was talking about brand story and the importance of defining your brand story. And it kind of relates to defining your why too. But she said storytelling is historically the most oldest form of communication.
Beowulf, man.
There was no marketing at all, like way back when. They just communicated what they wanted through storytelling. So it became this kind of aha moment where it's like, that's what you have to do in your marketing strategy now. Like, to get people to know, like, and trust you, you have to evoke that emotional response in their mind. And you do that through storytelling, explaining your purpose, explaining why you do what you do, and the value that you're able to provide for them. And even too, I think your why goes into, and maybe you have a different view on this, but you wanted to solve, this is more of your what, and which we'll get into. Wanting to solve something for your previous self, if that makes sense.
Oh yeah.
Have you ever? I heard her say that, and I'm like, oh my gosh, yeah, that makes sense. Like,
that does make sense. Ooh, now we're getting deep.
I know. It's the mind.
I like that.
Consumer psychology.
Well, let's take us into the activity then, and just walk you through it. So we're just going to give you a quick glimpse into this activity, and this is how we do it in the brand workshop. But it really does. It's a nice reset.
Yeah.
It's a really nice reset for these people again. And you could be in whatever position in the company, but to be faced with such a simple question, the how, what, why, or the what, how, why, excuse me, it's like, oh gosh, I haven't thought about it in these simple terms like this, but the answer is pretty complicated. So Shelby's going to take us through how we go through this target exercise, essentially.
So Simon, in his TED Talk, he creates a target, and on the outside is the what, the middle is the how, and then the target is the why. So he explains it that most businesses, they market their business from the outside in. But what successful multi-million, billion-dollar companies do is they'll market from the inside out. So what we're going to kind of walk you through is each of these processes of the target, and we'll give you some examples of like what this could look like too, and what it looks like to communicate your brand message from the inside out, so you can tap into those emotions that people make their decisions with, and ultimately lead you to trust their brand.
I love it. I love it.
So from a high level perspective, the what is what your product sells and the service that it offers. So like for Bing Bang, that would be photography, it would be video, it would be graphic design, website, visual design, social media, all the things.
Just all of those. No emotional tie to it, just what those things are.
And Simon describes it, that's coming from the rational part of your brain. So it's less of a decision making driver than the logistical part of your brain.
Right.
So once you define what you sell, it's time to go into how. So I do want to side note that we are doing these in reverse order. So when you're marketing your business, you're going to start from the why and go to the what, but we're making it simple to complex, so it's easier to understand for you guys. So the how for your business, these are what makes you different, the strengths that your business has, and what differentiates you from other people in your industry. So for Bing Bang, a lot of it comes down to the model that we created, our Solve, Create, Deliver model, as we take you through the three-step process to reach your marketing goals. We also are a full-service marketing agency, so that's something different too, where we're able to create customized, unique solutions for each client. And then your why. This is where you explain the purpose of why your business exists in the first place. And this actually becomes like your biggest differentiating factor, I think, in the grand scheme of things. It's what will set you apart from others through your messaging, the way you show up. Just because everyone has a different one.
Right. It's your origin story.
Yeah.
You're not going to your origin story is not going to be the same as your competitor. Even if your products are exactly the same, even if the way that you create your products are exactly the same, your why is never going to be the same as anyone else's. And that's what's important.
Yeah, and I think also a good point while you were talking that kind of came to my head is like no one's why is better than anyone else's. Everyone's
different.
why is just like uniquely to them, and we all can serve different audiences. Like you said, you are not like the only person in the whole world that does this, right? It's like we're all different. We all do it in a different way. So we want to attract people that resonate with the way that we do things.
Yeah.
So some questions that we ask when we have people inside these brand workshops, because the why is the most difficult part for them, is why does like insert brand name here exist in the first place? Like, why do we do what you do? So we ask them, what's your purpose? Why your organization exists in the first place? What's your cause? What's your belief? What gets you out of bed in the morning? And why should anyone care?
Yeah. And I also like, so when we're doing this in a brand workshop and we're having them write it down and we can see, we've asked all these prompts, but people can still be stuck. It's like, take yourself back to when you were 25 years old or however old you were when you decided, I'm going to start this business or I'm going to do this thing. What was that? What were you thinking? Why couldn't you sleep at night?
Yeah.
Until you went and you started this business. Like, what is that? And I bet if you think about it, that is still going to be in there. I'm not trying to get all deep, but I bet it's still in there because your why doesn't change.
Right.
Your why as a person and who you are as a person, it's like your soul. It doesn't change. It's formed in your late teens, early 20s after you've lived a little bit of life and you've just become like who you are. And it's going to be the same with your business too. Your why can't change later on because your why is the origin story.
Yeah.
So it's like, even if you're selling different services or doing things differently, that's fine. But the why, it's you're anchored to that. You always have that. That's that special thing.
Yeah. I want to hit on that part again because I think that's so important. Like your why, like for Bing Bang, our why is we want to tell stories. Now the way we tell stories, that can shift, or how we tell stories, that can shift. But at the end of the day, Bing Bang, what we do is we tell stories and share stories from our clients. So I love that point because we were actually kind of discussing it because I'm like, yeah, your why can change. Like it can always evolve. You're like, no, it can't. And I'm like, once you start to think of it, like your why is always going to drive what you do.
Yeah.
And then you think of it as your how and your what is what changes.
Right.
When you're in the target.
Right. And it's just like a brand. It's living, breathing thing. Life's going to happen around that brand, but the brand, the why because of that brand is always, you cannot change it.
Yeah.
Because it was what will always be, That's why it was started. You can't change something later on.
Yeah. And we even talked about this a little bit in last episode where we were talking about how kids are like deciding what they want to do when they're older, like when they're 5. And this kind of correlates to it because I was saying how, I always knew I was creative at a young age, but how I was creative and what I was doing that was creative, that's changed. But at the end of the day, like my why is still being creative.
Exactly. Yes. Yes. Okay. So when we take them through this exercise, it truly is like a target. They've laid out their what are those products that they're selling? How do you do it? And then the why. And then this is when we challenge them to lay that all on the table and kind of work backwards. Yep. So rather than saying, I have a truck, we make it in a manufacturing and we make them because people need to drive. No, we reverse it, add a little emotion to it, tell a little bit of that story, and then ultimately lead up to exactly what it is we're selling. And it's a story. Like you said, it is a story. You're telling a story at that point. It's not a sales pitch.
No.
It is a story truly about why this product exists in the first place and why it's made for people just like you.
Yeah, it's so crazy too when you think about it because I think so many times we can segment different parts of, even within the brand workshop, like your differentiators, your value, your purpose, all that stuff, you can segment them. But at the end of the day, it is, like you always say, it's a living, breathing thing, and they are all intertwined and working together. And like we also said earlier, there's no right or wrong answer to what your brand is. And like, should we be doing this? Should you not? You know what your brand is, and let your why be your guide to even what decisions you make within your company.
Exactly.
I think that's a really powerful thing. it's more than just external marketing, it's internal as well.
Yeah, and using your why in each of those tactics is so powerful. And then that's when you can really say like, oh, that's when you can really tap into the marketing and the analytics.
In the brain.
Like what or how did sharing our why resonate the most? And then you can nerd out on that. But really, the why, it's important. We ask people that all the time.
It's so buzzy right now.
Well, it is. What's your why? But truly, why are we doing this in the first place? If we don't know why we're doing this in the first place, we're wasting everybody's time.
Yeah, why should you expect other people to care?
Exactly. Why should people give a shit? We talked about that with a client last week for a long time. It's like, why should people really actually give a shit about this?
Yeah.
And we talked through it. And again, it got uncomfortable.
It gets uncomfortable, and it's a lot of hard work, I think, too. Like we said, these brand workshops are like 4 hours long. There's so much work that goes in before and after, but
we do bring candy. We do bring Lifesavers mints.
And crumble. I've been on a crumble kick lately.
Yeah, you have
I just can't stop. It's a lot of work. They truly are. And like we said, these leaders don't always think like that or work like that. But in the long run, for the longevity of your brand and your business, it is work that is well worth it.
It's so worth it. And it just gives us that extra insight to be able to tell your story so much better.
Yeah.
We can definitely, if this isn't something you want to do, or there's other brands out there, they'll tell your story at a surface level. Easy. They will. But you have to put the work in to get the return on that investment. And that's what we're trying to do. We always say we're a partner. We're not just a marketing agency. We're your true partner. And we want to learn more about you. It's like, I'm not going to marry somebody without knowing a little bit about their background, and you shouldn't marry us without doing that.
No.
We want to make that investment, and we want to take you on several dates and really get to know you.
You know where you should have your first date?
Where?
You should have it with Melanie and a just free discovery call.
God.
I am on a roll.
Yeah. You're a segue queen.
If you're ready to take action and start to implement this process so we can create a unique solution for yourself, we offer free discovery calls to anyone and everyone who wants to have
Melanie
one.
has a great speaking voice on the phone, on a Zoom.
Yeah, meet her for coffee over a beer. She does love herself a little beer.
She does.
And a little wine. So you can book a free discovery call with her at info.itsbeingbang.com/create. And like I said, this is just a chance for you to open up about your pain points and what you need help with, extra hands-on. We're here to help in any way that we can, and we just want to see everyone succeed. So
We do. Join us on the light side. We're having fun over here.
it is so much fun over here.
It is.
What's been the most fun thing you've done lately over here? This podcast?
This podcast.
Was it fun?
Hey, gotta say, this was a treat, a real treat.
I'm glad.
I love the podcast. I'm so glad we started this.
This has been the most fun thing that I've done for Bing Bang.
Really?
I think so.
Nice. Put that up on a shelf and just look at that.
I like it. And I hope you guys like it too. And if you do, let us know. Oh my God, I'm on a roll. I'm doing another segue right now.
Okay.
Are you ready?
I'm feeling
Do you
it.
feel it? Ready?
Yeah. Oh, here it
If
comes.
you like what you're hearing, be sure to leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. Yes, I said it. Go to Apple Podcasts. You can go to the bottom, leave us a 5-star rating, and we just appreciate it so much. That's how we're able to grow and reach other marketing aficionados, as Mackenzie says, like yourselves. So
We're your buddies. We're your pals. I did miss the segue there, but I believed everything you said. What was the segue?
you were saying, I'll have to roll back the tape.
John, did you catch it? No. I don't think there was a segue
It's
there.
one of those things where it sounds really nice.
She's
in my
like, I'm
head.
doing it. I'm like,
I was doing it. If I go back and listen, I'll be able to explain what I did there because it was pretty great.
okay. Yeah.
It was. We gotta end the show.
We've got to wrap this up. We've got to wrap this up.
We appreciate you guys listening today, and be sure to send us a DM on what your why is behind why you do what you do. We'd love to know and connect with you on there as well. So before we ramble on anymore, we're gonna peace out.
Damn, you handled this one, baby.
Bye.
Bye.